Your thoughts on education in this country, schooling? You don't necessarily have to touch on the ballot bill, but as one of the tools to fix the problems we have in this country, what are your thoughts on education that we currently have? And are we happy? Would you have any ideas, especially as a scholar, on how we could improve on that?
One of the single most devastating failures of the ANC government is the disastrous state of education in South Africa. And like you say, it forces people to have to make these difficult choices. Do I go into private education where at least I know that there are certain basics that will be imparted, or do I go into a broken public education system? And if those options were there, I think a lot of people would opt in to the public system. But the fact of the matter is that you can't play with education, right? You can't play with your own education, because if you do that, then you systematically disadvantage yourself. So when you look at the period before apartheid, which is an interesting period because we often look at just apartheid and forward, one of the things that was happening, which apartheid actually successfully destroyed, was the formation of Black educational institutions.
By the British government?
And Black South Africans themselves, right? So yes, there was missionary education, but there were actually just Black-owned institutions that were, starting to come up. So for example, John Dube, one of the founders of the ANC, founded a school called Ohlange, and different people went there. And then the apartheid government came in and tried to turn it into a men's training center or whatever, right? So what we have to do, and one thing I would actually love to do, like if I had enough wealth, I've always thought about this, is build, and I know Sizwe Ngasana, for example, you've had him on the show, is building.
And his wife, Judith Dlamini.
Right. They're building our own educational institutions. I think that's such an important task. We can rely on government and wait until kingdom come, but it's not going to happen. Building new educational institutions, building new universities. I think that's a massive task that we need to take on, because we don't have enough. And to be fair to those private institutions to which I'm affiliated, they have in many cases been holding the line and making sure that we're still producing excellence and brilliance in this country. And that excellence is sometimes it goes out of the country, but sometimes it gets plowed back. And we just need more. We need more of these institutions, because the demand, there's like a sprinkling of these institutions, which are globally competitive, but we need like 10 times more. And the failure to build that just breaks my heart. Like, how have we allowed it such that the one gateway to success has been deprived of so many Black South Africans? And I think society and government, we must just hang our heads in shame over what we've done with education.
Do you think it's intentional? So we've obviously found out that George Soros funds SMWX.
Yeah, exactly. And Jacob Zuma, don't forget.
And Jacob Zuma, sorry, my bad. So do you think there's an invisible third hand that intentionally wanted our education system to be dysfunctional so that we're not churning quality children that can build this country into something special?
I hope. I don't have any evidence to support that. Maybe, but I don't know.
Do you think it's just incompetence?
I think it's just incompetence. And it's really sad. But look, I mean, we cannot underestimate the incompetence, sadly, of our government over the last 30 years. With the best intentions, the ANC-led government, I'm afraid to say, which is a government that a lot of people, myself included, very early on invested huge amounts of hope in.
Yes. We all used to vote for the ANC, myself included.
Yeah. And not just vote, like hope. Like we actually had hope, and it's been shattered by just failing to deliver the basics. So I think this is just an example of just failing to deliver the basics, same as roads, same as electricity, basics slipped. And if you don't master the art of government, then it doesn't matter what your ideology is. You'll never be able to implement it.